that information. And the BNI, I understand, has contacted that person. That was on Thursday where that interaction took place. Subsequently, on Monday, the BNI called him and said that he was supposed to report, even though the BNI at the last meeting had not asked him to make a subsequent report to its office. But he told them that he was then in Kumasi attending to his sick father, at the Tech Hospital, at the Care University Hospital. They insisted that he comes there on Monday, and he told them that because of his father's condition, which is quite dire, he couldn't make it except to come there on Wednesday. But the BNI insisted that he has to come. Why would the BNI do so? Why was it that the BNI couldn't wait till Wednesday? Why was it so urgent that the BNI wanted him to come there on Monday? So finally, upon his insistence, the BNI agreed to compromise for him to go there yesterday. When he went there yesterday, the BNI decided to go and conduct a search in his home. When they did the search, they were supposed to have brought him back to the BNI's regional office at Kaukudinima. Subsequently, they took him to a destination which we were not aware of. This morning, together with the General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodia, and Henry Nanabuache, we went to the BNI headquarters to inquire of Kofi's whereabouts. When we went there, subsequently we were told that we should go back to Kaukudi, that is where he's located. We went there, they did further interrogation, and after the interrogation, we were told that they can't grant him bail and that he will be arraigned before court tomorrow, right? At that point, there wasn't much we could do but to wait till tomorrow and then go to court to make a formal application for bail. So we left the place together with Nana Boache. The General Secretary had to go and attend to other matters which he had prior agreement to. And so we left there. It was when I got to my office that Asempa FM called me. I granted an interview and then attributed responsibility for the life of Kofi Ofosu to the Secretary of the President, who is the complainant in this matter. Not long after the interview, I was called and said the BNI has decided to review its decision and then has come to the conclusion that they should grant him bail. If you know how the BNI works, when you go there, after an interrogation, before they decide to grant you bail, you wait for over an hour, particularly with political cases involving politically exposed persons. You can wait for sometimes 2 hours before they make that decision. And so it was under similar circumstances that they made a decision to detain Kofi Ofosu and arraign him before court, right? And so when, after the interview was granted, they then reviewed their decision, the only conclusion you could come to was because that their cover has been blown in the media. That is why they decided to review the decision, particularly when it involves a complainant who is the secretary to the president. I have no doubt that decision could not have been made without reference to the secretary to the president, who is the complainant in this matter. I believe that at every point he was briefed, and that was when they decided to detain him. Subsequently, upon their cover being blown, they decided to review it. And so this is where we are. Tomorrow you go and report. There's no more the condition that he has to be, you'll be taken to court tomorrow. So this is where we are now.
You think this has some political undertone?
I have no doubt in my mind. The complainant in this matter is the executive secretary to the president, Dr. Kalistus Mahama. It is public knowledge that the whole investigation is at his instance. And so, if you say it doesn't, if he has political undertone, very respectfully, I don't think that there's anything less obvious than that.
But the kind of allegation Kofi is reported to have made is quite a huge one, especially coming on the back of the decision to reform the whole scholarship secretariat, the allegations of some of them being bought by politically exposed people. So you expect such handling of such a matter. You agree to that?
My brother, There is no offense in this country which is not bailable. So regardless of the nature of the allegation, that the offense is bailable. The fundamental question that will follow is that, was the detention necessary for the continuation of the investigation, right? Particularly where a charge has been proffered against them, particularly where the bottom line in respect of the matter at hand could only have been, right, of the charge that they have proffered against them. And the evidence that could potentially support it is the video recording from the TV station. And so, what was the materiality of the decision to detain him? What was the materiality of it? Other than trying to teach him where power lies, it is also a matter of public knowledge that on Thursday, immediately Kofi reported voluntarily to the office of the BNI, of the NIB, an operative of this government in the name of Mr. Jifa Kunu had put on social media that Kofi had been picked up by operatives of the National Investigations Bureau. Subsequent to Kofi's, subsequent to the conclusion of the interaction with the BNI and Kofi came out, he put out a statement, right, that contrary to what had been put out, he had not been picked up, right? And so, why was Jifa in a hurry to put out that statement? What kind of discussions went on for him to come and put out that information? What was the expectation of the system of the BNI when Kofi was invited? Since Jifa putting out that statement, these are very legitimate questions that can lead us to a certain conclusion, and that conclusion could be nothing less than, the fact that this whole thing is politically motivated.
Nana, thank you very much for your time. Nana J. Bafwewa is lawyer for the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, Kofi Ofosu Nkansa. This is Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll go to the Ayawaso East constituency.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens. Imagine making or collecting all payments without leaving your chair. Sounds like magic, right? Nah, it's Stanbic Pay.
As the Chief Financial Director of SBA Holdings Limited, payments from clients flow like magic through Stanbic Pay.
From school fees to utilities, government and statutory payment to investment, insurance payment, Hajj payment, and more. Just log on to Stanbic Pay and you're set for life. No Stanbic account, no queues, no stress, no last-minute panic.
Cherish your time and live happier in safety and convenience.
Just visit stanbicbank.com.gh or call 030-340-9212 or 055-676-0683 to get started.
Oh, jump on now.
Go. Google me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish Magobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand the Magobe inside?
I give you info. Make a feel the gobe too small.
The go.
Yo, Pana. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
They said living on cloud 9 is the ultimate feeling of happiness. Why not find out for yourself? Val Real Estate, Africa's Gate to Real Estate, is proud to introduce Pune Airport West. Here comes our boldest statement yet. Invest in Pune, Airport West, and live a standard above. A striking 22-story lifestyle residential tower rising in Airport West with thoughtfully designed studio, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments. Launch prices are now live for a limited time. Join us on the 13th of February 2026 as Val officially unveils this new development. Pune, Airport West. Live a standard above. To RSVP, reserve your unit and secure your place today. Call 0800 888 888. Val Real Estate. Africa's gate to real estate.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. You're still listening to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. 5 individuals, including 2 independent candidates, have filed to contest the Ayawaso East parliamentary by-election scheduled for March 3rd, 2026. Fafa has more on this.
Well, the candidates are Baba Jamal of the NDC, Babali Yusuf of the MPP, Ibrahim Idrisu of LPG, and 2 independent candidates, David Kano and Umar Sanda Mohammed. The EC Greater Accra Regional Director Gladys Pinkra outlined arrangements for balloting scheduled for tomorrow.
So what I'm saying is we'll do the balloting tomorrow to determine the positions of the candidates. If nominations will close today at 5 p.m.
So anyone who comes after 5 is...
we will not accept his or her nomination forms. 3 candidates have filed so far.
Can you be honest by the various parties again?
We have an independent candidate, the NDC and the NPP. They have filed so far.
Gladys Pinkra is the Greater Accra Regional Director for the Electoral Commission.
Let's speak to the MPP parliamentary candidate in the Ayawaso East constituency, Baba Ali Yusuf, who represents the party come the 3rd of March. He's also the constituency secretary for the MPP in the area. Baba, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. You filed your nomination today. How was the process?
Good evening, sir, and greetings to all our listeners. The process was smooth. We went through every single activity that needed to be done and were able to file our nomination successfully.
Tell me about your chances in this by-election. You've been a constituency secretary, or you are still a constituency secretary. How do you rate your chances?
Yes, I'm still the constituency secretary for Ayawaso East, double up as the parliamentary candidate. Yes, I know the constituency. And I know how difficult the constituency has been for MPP over the years. But I can tell you, every election comes with its own dynamics. The dynamics towards this by-election is quite different. And I believe that with hard work, proper message, and good strategy, the MPP is going to win the seat for the first time.
If you say proper message, what kind of message are you talking about?
Yes. When we get to the voters in Ayawaso East, we will let them know the developmental gap we are facing in Ayawaso East. If you compare Ayawaso East to the other Ayawasos, where the MPP has occupied the seat for many years, and you compare and contrast, you realize that the Ayawaso West, the Ayawaso Central, which has been a seat for MPP until the 2024 election that the NDC won. You check. They are doing very well compared to Ayawaso East and even Ayawaso North to some extent. And that is the kind of things we are going to explain to the voters to know. And also, it is important they get a representative who understands them, who knows their plight, and can make a strong case for the constituency in the House of Parliament. These, among others, are some of the things we are going to tell the electorate in Ayawaso East, and I believe they will listen. I've been with them for many years. I was born here, grew up here, and so I understand the concerns, and I know the challenges in the constituency, and I'll be a good representative for them, inshallah.
Baba, your constituency has been in the news for the bad reasons on the back of the Saturday parliamentary primaries for your opponent, which is the NDC. You think this will be an added advantage to you and the MPP in the constituency going into this by-election?
Well, I will not behave like the way Ghana Blasters behave sometimes during qualification, where you'll be banking your hopes on the losses of other teams. No, I'm going into this election with my strength and win on merit. If I get votes based on what is happening currently in the constituency, it will be an added advantage. Clearly, what happened last Saturday is bad for our democracy. We should not entertain in any way vote buying in our body politics. It's absolutely wrong, and we must condemn it.
And you think this is not something you can capitalize on it in terms of your campaigning?
I mentioned earlier that I'm going into this election on my own merit, and I will not behave like Ghana Blasters during qualification, where I'll be banking my hopes on losses from other teams, where we normally do our calculations. If this team loses, then Ghana Blasters is going to gain this point. No, that is not the strategy I'm going into this election. I'm going into this election on my strength, my good message, and if I get that votes of the current happenings in the constituency, as I said, it will be an added advantage to me.
Baba, I wish you all the best and thank you very much for your time. Baba Ali is the MPP parliamentary candidate for the Ayawaso East constituency. He filed his nomination, including 4 others, to contest the 3rd March by-election expected to take place on the back of the demise of the sitting member of parliament for the area. Let's just stay within the Ayawaso East constituency, because yesterday the leadership of the National Democratic Congress maintained Baba Jamal as the party's parliamentary candidate for the March 3rd by-election. It comes on the back of an investigation that took place following reports of alleged vote buying and corruption and the like. A number of people have criticized the NDC for this move, because when the party says it was setting up a committee, a number of people hailed this whole process, to the extent that the majority in Ghana's parliament, which is the NDC majority, called for the entire cancellation of the election results. But then the NDC, at a press conference addressed by the General Secretary of the party, Fifi Kwete, says Baba Jamal has been maintained as the party's candidate for the election. Many people are not happy. Let's speak to Elikem Kotoko. He's the Deputy National Organizer of the NDC on this matter. Elikem, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. How do you react to people who say that indeed the NDC as a political party failed an opportunity to correct the many things that was wrong in this whole primary?
Good evening and thank you for the opportunity. First and foremost, for anyone who say the NDC has failed, that person has rather failed to appreciate the circumstance we are dealing with. Let me take you through a quick one, and may I put it also on record that it was not the General Secretary who said A, B, or C. This was the recommendation of the committee. Now, the committee met with the Functional Executive Committee yesterday, and I'm sure you and the listeners are equally aware that between yesterday and today, there was less than 24 hours or so to file a candidate for the political party. How are you going to nullify an election result? When are you going to conduct a new elections? And that is also not rooted in any constitutional provision in our party constitution. So on what basis are you going to do so when even the Electoral Commission that conducted the process declared it duly done, free and fair? We are not ruling out the fact that some inappropriate conduct went on. In fact, the NDC should be commended for that, because our people on the other side and Ghanaians are aware of numerous of such occurrences on the other side, but it was glossed over. But immediately this happened, the NDC took it upon itself that because of our political ideology, there was a need for us to make sure that leadership is of worthiness and not of wealth, rather. And so this was looked into, and the committee in their recommendations said they would have also recommended an annulment of the entire process for a rerun, but there was no time. So that was a major constraint, for which reason they recommended that moving forward,
So
except for one who does not appreciate the timing.
So time is being used to justify this decision, right?
It is wrong to say time. It is wrong to say time is being used. Time is. It is not that it is being used. When you say time is being used, it's as though it's a deliberate employment to do. But time is the major cause of an inability to annul. And like I said, a second major bottleneck would have been that there is no constitutional provision in an annulment would not have been rooted in law per our constitution. So what was going to be the basis? It would have resulted in further legalities that will not be inuring to the benefit of the party. But I think the general good is that Ghanaians today can tell that the NDC frowns on any inappropriate conduct, and therefore stood up immediately to take steps in order to ensure that we let them know we frown on this. We do not want a fractured democracy. We want a resilient democracy.
You are a politician. Let me find out from you. Is there a way the body politics of Ghana can do away with this vote buying and the kind of things we see during primaries? Is there a way? You are a politician. I'm asking, is there a way we can do away with it?
There are a lot of ways, I must agree, and I can even prefer some. For instance, if we can further decentralize the whole electoral processes across the country with all political parties, where it hasn't have to be with only the delegate system and all of that, where every member, but you see, you need to be careful also you don't get infiltrators who come and also register that they are members of your party and they choose for you who. It's a very dicey situation, but we need to put in stiffer measures to ensure that the givers don't give and the takers also don't ask for it. And to tell you the truth, as a politician, I do not think that giving out funds also influence electorates, because if that was the case, trust me, you agree with me together with your listeners that Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia of the MPP would have been the president of Ghana today.
Meaning?
They offered so many things. They even promised Reverend Fathers to be paying them. Eventually, they said they were joking.
You know about this? I don't. You know about this?
You never heard of that? That Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia said we need to be paying our Reverend Fathers. But we saw, that is what I'm saying. I do not want to really politicize it, but to tell you the truth, even the immediate past primaries, you saw it. And we saw a lot of scenarios where monies were being counted in the boot of cars, etc. during COVID era. We saw all of that. But what action was taken by that party? Nothing. But we have decided that the moment there was a concern raised by the Ghanaian, there was the need for us to do so. I want to commend the leadership of which I am part, especially our chief scribe, Fifi Kote, the leadership of the national executive, for taking that swift action in order to make sure that we demonstrate to the Ghanaian that we are concerned and committed to strengthening our democratic credentials.
Elekem, the special prosecutor has taken interest in this matter. Yesterday, your candidate, who is now, your parliamentary candidate, Baba Jamal, appeared before the special prosecutor. Will it be comfortable to have your candidate, who is expected to be campaigning, be going in and out of the office of the special prosecutor for investigation in this matter?
Very, very comfortable. In as much as we all may have some challenges with the way and manner in which the special prosecutor goes about the discharge of his duties, that sometimes we are tempted to believe he's a square peg in a round hole. We want to believe that if due process is followed, Baba Jamal will be working a free man. And more importantly, let it be put also on record that one of the major reasons he was invited was that there was an assault case being talked about, and I don't know if I think that, and it also is up to the special prosecutor to prove beyond reasonable doubt whatever allegations he wants to stand on to take any action against Baba Jamal.
Elekem, thank you very much for your time. Elekem Kotoko,
thank you for having me, my brother.
National organizer of the NDC, speaking to us there. This is Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. We still stay within the Ayawaso East constituency.
Well, the NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso East, Baba Jamal Ahmed Mohammed, has defended his decision to relinquish his post as Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria to contest the March 3 by-election. Speaking to supporters, Baba Jamal dismissed claims that he is motivated by personal gain, revealing that he earned a monthly salary of $12,000, along with additional allowances, including $600 for telephone expenses while serving in Nigeria. He reaffirmed his commitment to the constituency, noting that his ambition is rooted in service rather than material gain.
Envy, the condition of serving, mine is 3 times that of an MP. But I have decided to leave all and come and serve my people. So the question everybody should ask is that, what is your motivation? I am not motivated by material things. I'm motivated by human service. I am not materialistic because or can say, Baba, like me colleague war Brazil. I say, me, Baba, I hear you are going back to Nima. I said yes. I said, hey, the salary is good though. This is our condition. You want to leave it? I say yes, I'm leaving it. Because I'm not motivated by material things. Please, if it's about money, then I'll stay in Nigeria. Look at all these largesse. Apart from that, do you believe that if me fee Abuja, me decide say me go visit me office in Nigeria, and I'm go visit me coordinator or Kano, and I'm go visit me coordinator or Anambra, and a baby. Every day I spend out there, I'm giving $540, $47. My telephone allowance, $600. So yes, all the material things are good. Sabi, mo ambassador be a wakodi 2-3 years a waba wadani here nida. Sabi, unless so you can penny. But pass okodi owa, because at the end of the month, all what I buy from my $12,000 is food.
You are the National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso East, Baba Jamal.
This is Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we have more stories.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Momo. It has made life happen in lots of good ways.
Mr. Kwanzaa, Mensaka insurance claim no.
It has put together beautiful weddings. It has filled the bellies of boys at their favorite wachi joint.
My guy, stop. Who they chop cancel these days?
It has made millions of businesses possible.
Mensaka no. We are back in business.
With just a few taps, money moves faster, easier, and safer. Momo understands the weight of your trust in us. We continuously enhance security with features like self-paying reset to help you protect your money. Momo will only call you with 0244 300,000. No MTN or Momo staff will call or ask for your PIN or one-time password. Do not transfer funds to anyone whose identity you have not verified. Do not approve any prompts you have not initiated. Momo, still Wunsaka.
Oh, jump on
the go. Ugomi, at what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same right. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
The go-go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Yeah, welcome back. You're still listening to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. Let's read a few of your Telegram messages. And what transpired during the Ayawaso East NDC primary strongly suggests that there's something about Parliament beyond public service that ordinary citizens are not being told. This is from Daniel in Sandima. Abdul from Tamale says the EC should come out with ideology that will conduct credible and acceptable by-election on the 3rd of March. Daniel says, in the interest of fairness, integrity, and deterrence, such an election ought to have been annulled outright to send a clear signal that money must not take place of the conscience of Ghanaians. This is Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. Let's go to the northern region, and Bimbala to be precise, because residents of Bimbala are assessing the extent of damage after yesterday evening's rainstorm caused widespread destruction in the area. More than 1,000 homes and several other properties were damaged, forcing many families to seek shelter elsewhere. Let's go onto the phone line and speak to Abdul Hamza, who is the MC for the Nanumba North District Assembly on this matter. MC, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. What is the briefing you have on this disaster?
Good evening, my brother. And good evening to our cherished listeners. Actually, between the hours of 4 to 5 p.m., I was called on phone whilst I was on an official duty at the Flagstaff House. And my attention was drawn to the disaster in Bimbila. In fact, as at now, on record, by the NADMO Directorate, the municipal director has been able to record, due to their survey, they've been able to record 210 houses ripped off, 3 schools ripped off. That is the EA Gina High School, Kona Gina High School, Nuria Gina High School. And the hospital, parts of our hospital is also been affected. The parts of the police station is affected, and some number of government bungalows, including the assembly stores and the assembly car park. In fact, I must thank Citi News for being on the ground for the municipality and doing the appropriate coverage for the municipality to be heard worldwide. Yes, as a municipal chief executive this morning, I visited the Director General for NADMO to brief him, let him know the first-hand experience, what established to him what has actually happened. And in fact, the Director General gave me a good listening and has promised that NADMO is working swiftly to respond to the disaster need of our people, the emergency need. But I must also add that due to the social structure of our people, the structure of our tradition, we are lucky to have many people come to the aid of the affected persons. many because of the extended nature of our system, of our household, any other house has an extended family member somewhere. So because of the social structure of the northern region, we've been able to accommodate a good number of them. However, some people certainly will have to rely on our assembly, and we have temporarily accommodated some of them in our community center temporarily to get a temporary solution, looking for solutions to the current problem.
How many people are we talking about here? I mean, the displaced people.
The displaced people, that's in human, currently we are dealing with houses, because we've not been able to get time to go into the individual homes to see the number of people that are there because of the number of households, the many households that are affected. So it's not easy. The NADMO director this morning indicated he has divided his team into 6 groups. That was excellent on his behalf. I monitored, even though I was not home, I heard the morning news and the update he gave. So due to the nature of the disaster, we actually have not delved into the individual homes to know the number of people affected. But we know households which have been affected, and then those who have no alternative at all, a few of them has been accommodated at the community center.
How soon can you organize relief items for these individuals?
I think that was the reason why I personally had to move to NADMO headquarters this morning to meet with Dr. Koyun, that is the Director General. We spoke at length, and NADMO is putting, they also have to rely on data that the municipal NADMO director is still compiling, irrespective of them waiting for the data. Once the information, they have the first-hand information. The report from the region has come to the national, and actually they are now waiting for the data to back it up.
I'm asking this because normally when they are displaced, if relief items do not come on time, you realize that they are vulnerable, and in the event that it rains again, it may worsen their situation.
That is yes, it may worsen their situation. That is why we are fortunate. I have mentioned that we are fortunate to have a very good social structure that accommodate, that has enough hospitality for each other, and that has has actually helped us a lot, because not many of them are stranded, and NADMO is working as I was promised, that NADMO is working swiftly to actually come to the aid of the people. So I'm still in Accra, and there's definitely I'll wish to Friday and see what will come out of it.
Abdul, thank you very much for your time. Abdul Samid Hamza is the MC for the Namibia North district in the northern region, Bimbilla capital, because you're told that over 210 homes have been destroyed following a heavy rainstorm which occurred yesterday. 3 schools affected, 1 hospital, 1 police station, and a number of government bungalows. This is Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. Let's go to the Jubilee House, because government is announcing some sweeping changes to the cocoa sector on the back of recent development within the sector.
Well, the Minister of State in charge of government communications, Felix Kwatiofosu, announced this after an emergency cabinet meeting. The meeting was convened to address concerns over delayed payments to cocoa farmers and the growing financial strain in the sector. Addressing the media, Felix Kwatiofosu said that the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, will address the public tomorrow with details of the planned reforms.
We have just concluded a lengthy cabinet meeting, which was an emergency session that discussed the cocoa sector and matters arising there. And at the end of the emergency session, decisive measures have been agreed upon regarding expedited payments of cocoa farmers, regarding the implementation of the most drastic reforms in the cocoa sector, with a view to achieving quantum leaps in domestic processing of cocoa as opposed to exports of raw materials. and various reforms to be carried out at Cocoa Board in order to ensure more effective administration and management of the cocoa sector. Now, at 11 a.m. tomorrow, the finance minister will address the people of Ghana and announce these far-reaching measures as agreed upon at the end of the cabinet meeting today. So that is what I have for you right now. If you have any questions, I can take it. But tomorrow, 11 a.m., meet the finance minister here for a comprehensive briefing on all the measures that have been agreed upon at today's meeting.
You are the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwachiofusu. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has inaugurated the 12-member Presidential Advisory Group on the economy, defending his decision to constitute the body. At the inauguration, he said the advisory group is not new, recalling a similar team that operated under the late President John Atta Mills. The president explained that the group will offer guidance on sectoral development, private sector expansion, investment mobilization, and job creation.
Your council is therefore expected to be frank, independent, evidence-based, and anchored in the long-term national interest. PAGE is not new to our governance architecture. It existed under the late President, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, and also during my earlier tenure in office. And it returns today expanded and strengthened to reflect the evolving complexity of our economy. The current PAGE configuration allows us to streamline economic governance by eliminating the overlapping structures, including the former economic management team. My vice president, who is a member of PAGE, will chair meetings in my absence in accordance with constitutional responsibility. PAGE will operate alongside the Economic Policy Coordinating Committee, EPCC, which is jointly chaired by the Minister for Finance and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, which remains a critical technical platform. I encourage continued coordination among these bodies to achieve efficiency, coherence, and cost-effective governance.
President John Dramani Mahama further stressed the need to rebuild fiscal buffers and maintain policy consistency to avoid a return of domestic debt haircut and renewed economic instability.
We are all qualified and experienced enough to know that we face a tough road ahead, regardless of the progress we may have chalked up to date. As a nation, we find ourselves again in debt distress after having previously declared HIPIC and solemnly assuring ourselves that we will never return to such a position. That experience should have permanently altered our fiscal culture. Unfortunately, instead, we dissipated significant buffers and stabilizers that would have shielded our citizens from the painful domestic debt haircuts that they ultimately had to endure. We must confront this reality honestly. After investing in 3 oil fields and positioning ourselves as an emerging petroleum economy, we allowed policy inconsistency and investor uncertainty to drive existing and potential investors to competing jurisdictions. Our task now is correction without amnesia, learning from both our success and our failures.
You are President You are the President John Dramani Mahama. Meanwhile, Vice President Professor Jane Nana Opukwajiman, who serves as a member of the Presidential Advisory Group on the Economy, called on the team to place Ghanaians at the heart of its deliberations. She said the group's work must respond directly to the cost of living.
For us to constantly reflect on what the term the economy should mean to our fellow citizens. Beyond an abstract concept, it should mean many things, including the following: stability for the teacher in the classroom and the nurse on night duty, fair prices and reliable markets for the farmer, predictable cost and access to credit to the trader and small business owner, stable incomes and affordable housing and transport for the worker, opportunities and skills for the young person, especially the women, security for the laborer, and decent care for the elderly. In short, Our task is sobering. That is, to conceptualize the kind of support that makes their economy feel less distant and more everyday possibility.
Yeah, the Vice President, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. Well, away from that, the Ghana Education Service says it will not tolerate indiscipline following reports of a stabbing and alleged rape during the Superzonal Sports Competition in the Eastern Region. Police have confirmed the arrest of some suspect. A student of Koforidua Senior High Technical School was injured while a female student from Osino Senior High School is receiving counseling. Head of Public Affairs at the GES, Daniel Fenny, said those found guilty will face prosecution.
For the perpetrators of these crimes, the stabbing and the gang raping, for them, they are in the police custody, assisting investigations. If found guilty, the laws of the country will take its due course. But for us, as Ghana Education Service, we are also ready. In fact, we have indicated to the regional director that after the laws of the country, for some offenses, the laws of the country is so interested that it even takes its course. In other words, for those perpetrators who are 18 and above, they might even face imprisonment. And for those who are below, the country has juvenile legal processes that they would also go through. So for us as Ghana Education Service, we have released them to the state for the state to do whatever legal process, take them through whatever legal process that they must go through, whilst we also prepare to discipline them as well.
Daniel Fenny added that the GES is closely monitoring the ongoing inter-school sports competition in the Ashanti region to prevent any acts of misconduct.
Ever since this happened, we are also following keenly interzonal competition happening in the Ashanti region, currently ongoing. We are also picking some reports of indiscipline. For us as Ghana Education Service, we believe that sports among students is a platform where some talents are nurtured, where students are groomed, and sometimes the students are able to build a career out of these sporting competitions. And so for us, we will not tolerate students using these platforms or this ground to perpetuate indiscipline. And so for us as Ghana Education Service, we have taken these matters very seriously. And for students who might be listening, immediately you commit an offense, the state is so interested in your matter. And so the state will take its due course. The era where students are protected and they are covered even when they are misbehaving is over.
Yeah, the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Education Service, Daniel Fenny. Let's still stay on education, but now at the tertiary level. The Federation of Non-Teaching Staff Unions in Universities of Ghana has threatened to withdraw their services within 2 weeks. The union is demanding the immediate suspension of GTEC's retirement policy, describing the directive as unfair and discriminatory. Speaking to Citi News, the national president of the Ghana Association of University Administrators, Michael Osu-Ansah, said they are calling for a review of the policy.
Okay, so the concern of the non-teaching unions is that retirement issues are issues of conditions of service. Retirement issues are issues of negotiation. Retirement issues are not regulated by policy. And that is exactly what GTEC is seeking to do. They are seeking to vary our condition of service with the policy directive, and we find it unacceptable. I mean, this policy has been pronounced without any stakeholder engagement. No consultations took place, and yet the policy is going to have an effect on employees and then the unions. And the non-teaching staff is calling for immediate suspension and review of the policy.
Here, the national president of the Ghana Association of University Administrators, Michael Osu-Ansah.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Momo, It has made life happen in lots of good ways.
Mr. Kwanzaa, Mensaka insurance claim no.
It has put together beautiful weddings. It has filled the bellies of boys at their favorite watchy joint.
My guy, stop. Who they chop cancel these days?
It has made millions of businesses possible.
Mensaka no. We are back in business.
With just a few taps, money moves faster, easier, and safer. Momo understands the weight of your trust in us. We continuously enhance security with features like self-paying research to help you protect your money. Momo will only call you with 0244 300,000. No MTN or Momo staff will call or ask for your PIN or one-time password. Do not transfer funds to anyone whose identity you have not verified. Do not approve any prompts you have not initiated. Momo, still Wunsaka.
Oh, jump on now.
Go. Google me. At what time when you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I don't change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind self be the 3-in-1 action no. Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my go be fast then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my go be inside?
I give you info. Make a feel the go be too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Mr. Kojo, 1 minute before you go to work. The AC you said you want to fix, it won't work.
Why?
Because the electrician will come and chisel my wall. It will make my building weak. Wait, is that a puppy? No animals in my house,
Kojo knows all the challenges about renting. That was his reality until he discovered Republic Bank. With Republic Bank's flexible mortgage solutions, you can move from tenant to homeowner quickly. Imagine stepping into your own home, a place for your family to grow and create memories. Big up. Join the Republic Verse. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by Republic Bank. We are the one for you. Join the Republic Verse. Do more, shine more, big up. The details of our stories now. The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is appealing to the government to reinstate the previous 4% flat VAT rate, saying it will enhance compliance among traders. According to the association, the current 20% VAT structure is complex and difficult to compute, creating challenges for businesses in its implementation. The call comes despite assurances from the Ghana Revenue Authority that the new rate will not lead to an increase in consumer prices or disrupt market activity. Addressing a press conference in Accra, GUTA President Clement Boateng called for broader stakeholder engagement and dialogue.
Traders, especially in the informal sector, struggle with complex computations, lack the necessary expertise, and can't afford to hire VAT professionals to do the calculations and the arithmetic for them. This leads to unintentional non-compliance, penalties, and a negative impact on business sustainability. We therefore propose the following solutions. 1. We urge the government to review Act 1151 urgently and introduce a simplified 3 to 4% VAT status quo for the informal sector, making it easier for traders to comply. Number 2, GRA should intensify trader registration and education to broaden the tax net and increase its revenue. Number 3, make the new regime optional for traders comfortable with the VAT system.
Clement Boateng is the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Meanwhile, the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association has also weighed in on the issue, stressing that it is not opposed to the government's new tax regime. The association's head of communications, Techiado, indicated that the stakeholder consultations have been insufficient and that public education on the new system, particularly on input and output tax claims, remains inadequate.
What you are saying, you are not against the new regime. What you are saying is from 4% to 20% is too high. So they should reduce it from 5 to 8% within. But again, GI was saying that Abosokai was lacking fundamental understanding about the new regime. Of course, we are lacking understanding because we don't understand. It's their job to educate the public. Abosokai is in the informal sector. We shouldn't expect everybody to understand the tax system. That's number two. Number three, they are talking about input and output, saying that 4% usually we don't claim.
Techiado is head of communications for the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association. Away from that, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition says it is not rushing plans to merge the Energy Commission and the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. Rather, it is building consensus among key stakeholders before going ahead with the move. Sector Minister John Jinapo has held discussions with the Public Service Workers Union after concerns raised by workers over the proposed merger. Spokesperson for the ministry, Richmond Roxon, tells Citi News the government is committed to dialogue, insisting that no final decision will be taken without thorough input from stakeholders.
Yet, even though that is the policy direction, once the government decides to proceed with it, there will be constructive engagement with workers for everybody to understand what the rationale is, the thinking behind, for us to build consensus before we move forward with that decision. You know, basically, workers will always be concerned about the security of their jobs. Basically, that's what they are concerned about. But like the minister said, once we initiate these discussions, they'll be protected. Their jobs will be protected. And so it is not as if the government is proceeding without them, but there will be engagement, consensus building. Their inputs are very valued as well.
Richmond Roxon speaks for the Energy Ministry. Away from that, as part of efforts to increase domestic cocoa consumption, strengthen local chocolate brands, and unlock greater value across the cocoa value chain, the Ghana Tourism Authority has launched National Chocolate Month. The initiative is designed to celebrate Ghana's rich cocoa heritage and position the country as a leading global destination for cocoa-based tourism. Speaking at the launch in Accra, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Mami Huajeto, emphasized that increased investment in locally processed chocolate directly benefits more than 800,000 cocoa farming families.
Over the next 3 days, right here at the Nationalism Park, the Ghana Chocolate Fair brings together our incredible producers, Golden Tree, Fair Afrique, Niche Cocoa Chocolate, Republica, Ohima, Duali, Miduno, Coca Villa, and many more remarkable Ghanaian brands. These producers are not just making chocolate, they are creating jobs, they are building value, and they are strengthening over 800,000 Ghanaian farming families.
Mami Huajeto is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority. And that's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by Republic Bank. We are the one for you. Join the Republic Verse, do more, shine more, big up. I am Melody Fafa, but to fair up next is Point Blank.
Mr. Kojo, 1 minute before you go to work. The AC you said you want to fix, it won't work.
Why?
Because the electrician will come and chisel my wall. It will make my building weak. Wait, is that a puppy? No animals in my house, oh.
Kojo knows all the challenges about renting. That was his reality until he discovered Republic Bank. With Republic Bank's flexible mortgage solutions, you can move from tenant to homeowner quickly. Imagine stepping into your own home, a place for your family to grow and create memories. Big up. Join the Republic Verse. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
They said living on Cloud 9 is the ultimate feeling of happiness. Why not find out for yourself? Val Real Estate, Africa's Gate to Real Estate, is proud to introduce Pune Airport West. Here comes our boldest statement yet. Invest in Pune Airport West and live a standard above. A striking 22-story lifestyle residential tower rising in Airport West with thoughtfully designed studio, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments. Launch prices are now live for a limited time. Join us on the 13th of February 2026 as Val officially unveils this new development. Pune Airport West. Live a standard above. To RSVP, reserve your unit and secure your place today. Call 0800-888-888. Val Real Estate. Africa's Gate to Real Estate.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You're welcome back. You're still listening to Eyewitness News, and this is Point Blank. On Point Blank tonight, my guest is Ataisa. He's a member of Parliament for the Saranugu constituency and a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament. Isa, good evening. Thank you very much for your time.
Good evening. And how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well by God's grace. Not too long ago, I saw you on the floor of Parliament mounting a spirited defense over the setting up or the establishment of the 24-hour secretariat, which a lot of people have criticized. Why do you believe, as a member of the Finance Committee, believe that we need to set up such an authority?
All right. So let me say good evening to you and to your listeners. It is important for us to appreciate, and before I begin my submission on why there is a need for us to have a coordinated effort in addressing the gaps that exist between agriculture and industry, let me give you a report that was done by Hosman. And look at what Hosman said in his literature. They said, despite African countries' extensive exchange rate liberalization since the 1980s and 90s, many African countries continue to experience pronounced exchange rate volatility, frequent currency depreciation, and recurrent foreign exchange pressures, which undermines economic stability, trade competitiveness, and investment planning. Then he proceeded by saying, these vulnerabilities are amplified by structural characteristics common across the continent, including limited export diversification, high dependency on commodity prices and revenues, and shallow foreign exchange markets, and constrained access to international capital and domestic currencies. What this report simply suggests is that African countries have the capacity. However, because of dependence in the exportation of raw materials, we are unable to tap in the full value of the natural resources that we have. Every country, no country develops without leveraging on its competitive advantage.
Okay.
So because of that, this bold industrialization effort, as propounded by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, seeks to address this. Exchange rate pressures are mostly imported products and then imported inflation, because most of the products, the final product we consume in Ghana, are from the export market, the foreign market. So anytime you want to demand for such commodity, you need to get the currencies of the functional currencies that they use over there. Now, it is important for African countries to realize that the only way we can reduce such pressure on our exchange is for us to promote import substitution, and then promotion of export promotion. This is because, let me give you this example. Ghana largely depends on commodities, gold, oil, cocoa, and others. However, if you look at the quantum of money we receive from these commodities that we trade, the refined value of the raw materials that we give is higher than the raw material we give them. Every nation that has developed with an economic framework is from agriculture, then it feeds industry, then the industry creates the service.
Yeah.
Ours is the reverse. The service sector rather feeds industry and that of agriculture. That is a reverse economic framework. So let's look at something. Cereal grains. That in fact, Yamadie. In 2025, the import value of Yamadie alone was 2.6 billion Ghana cedis. Yamadie. Other cereals like rice and other sugar, cocoa beans, rice, and whatever, share oil, even the share trees that we have, we export it, the beans, and they bring it back to us in the form of oil. If you look at the total import value on these common everyday staples that every household uses, we spend 38.95 billion Ghana cedis. These value are all expended using the dollar or the functional currency of the destination. It means that Ghana needed to have an equivalent of 39 billion Ghana cedis in order to import those goods. Yet we have the capacity to do this. So if we do not leverage the God-given natural resources, the human capital, in fact, we are currently underutilizing the human resources of our country. You know, unemployment is staggering around 12%. There's so much underemployment in Ghana, and many other graduates are available, but they cannot find work to do. It means that we need to do a drastic and radical change in our economic framework. Let me give you this data. Now, first of all, every flagship program done by any government has always come with a coordinated institution or an institutional framework to execute that program. And I'll give you an example. You remember President Kufuor brought health insurance.
Yeah.
We could have still said that hospitals and Ghana Health Service should have dedicated its attention to do it. But we thought that free health care was an important part of his campaign promise. And he needed to develop more attention to that. President Akufo-Addo brought free SHS and introduced the free SHS secretariat. He brought 1D, 1F and introduced a secretariat to that. The reason is not because of duplicity. The issue is because you want to develop more attention with key measurables and milestones that you want to achieve under your limited term of 4 years.
But these were just secretariats. They were not authorities.
And that is why they were not functioning. Because when you are a secretariat under the office of the president, the presidency defines what you should get. Giving it a legal backing with an organizational structure, and they are mandated to report back to Parliament, the people's representative, you realize that budgetary allocation will go to them as and when it is needed. And let everybody get this right. The 24-hour economy program is not a government-led program. What the government do, and let me provide this information.
It's a government-led program.
Not government-led.
There was a major campaign promise of the government now then in opposition.
Yes. What we sought to do was to say that we want to create an environment that is conducive and competitive enough for people to produce. And we gave methodologies and various ways that we want to assist the private sector to do it. Sammy, what we are saying is that, first of all, government is creating a special purpose vehicle through the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund to make sure that, one, private sector operations cannot survive when we don't have good transport systems that will link the agricultural zones to that of the industrial sector or the market. If we do not have industrial parks, we cannot make sure that commodities get to the market. Or we don't have agro-processing facilities, because the idea is that we have to ensure value addition to every raw material that we produce in this country. So that is the role of government, to provide infrastructure and enable an environment to make sure that private sector is able to tap into the opportunities that arise. Now, currently, as we speak, Badea has already approved $290 million for the private sector to participate in the 24-hour economy. We are also doing other partner banks that will secure $210 million this year to facilitate the implementation of the 24-hour economy. We have realized that there are funding issues. Come to think of this, most of the time, private sector are unable to access low number funds from banks because of risk profiles. Government is providing that risk guarantees to the private sector. So if we realize that the interest of government is to do value addition on cereals, government is providing that risk guarantee to the banks so that private sector is de-risked and they can access funds to invest into their productive capacity. Government, through the carbon credit market, has also initiated the green energy, where we are saying that energy cost is a major cost driver in Ghana. Because of that, our production capacity is restrained, and even the output cost of our products, because of the energy cost, is also higher than the imported products. You cannot survive with industrialization when your cost of energy is high. Government is introducing the green energy policy, and this can only be done by government because of the quantum of money that is needed for the private sector to do. Now, what is government doing first of all? One, we are instituting the 24-hour secretariat, the authority that was just recently passed. Then, two, we are making the lands available. You know, one of the priority areas of government is the oil palm plantation. We have secured the land. And we're also talking about tax rebates and credits. Oftentimes, the import duties our people pay, if you look at the free zones enclave, they get some exemptions. The concept of free zones came because we needed to attract investors. So when you are developing industrial parks and then value chain enablers, you must create a framework that will entice businesses. So when I hear people saying that, where is the 24-hour? 24-hour economy is a framework that is intended to create an environment that will entice the private sector to come and participate. So you will not go anywhere and see salt cattle for 24 hours, even though we are constructing 24-hour market across to bring products from the farm to the agro-processing centers and then to the market. That is the only way African can develop.
So you mean a 24-hour policy or this initiative is going to be private sector driven?
Largely supported by government.
But that is not what your government told the Ghanaian people.
That is exactly what we told the Ghanaian people. And I would refer anybody listening to me or watching me to visit the NDC manifesto. The government was very clear that we are providing an economic framework that will lead to import substitution and export promotion through providing an enabling environment for the private sector. One, through smart metering program. Two was security. Three was the tax incentives, and then the four was on energy costs. These were the pillars that we use. But of course, you cannot wake somebody up who pretends to be sleeping. People originally didn't want to read the 24-hour economy. They will ask you, what is 24-hour economy? Then when you tell them, then they say you don't know how to define it. We had always maintained that government cannot do everything, but government has the power to create an environment that is conducive enough for private sector to do. And let me tell you something. If you look at AGI report, they say that most businesses stifle because of corporate taxes, because of other taxes imposed by government. These distorted tax regimes do not make Ghana as an investment destination. And or something, the likes of Zambia, Tanzania, South Sudan, and the rest are becoming emerging market for trade destination because they have zero-rated tax systems. So we are saying that if you realize that we have competitive advantage in this area, create that environment for people to enter into that. As we speak, there is so much demand, and people tell me that you cannot force people to do 24 hours. I've just read to you the data from the Ministry of Trade that suggests that 38 billion Ghana cedis was imported for cereals. It tells you that there's a demand of 38 billion Ghana cedis that is out there in the market. But how do you target this market? You must create an environment for private sector to produce these outcomes. So I'm saying that there is a sanitary pad demand in Ghana currently. There is a company in Botiano, English. They have capacity to produce 12 million annually. Ghana consumes 7 million annually. So yet the people only do 10% of the Ghanaian demand and has capacity to have done 12 million in a year. And look at the amount of money we spent in importing sanitary pads. And even when the imported one comes, because of the energy cost, the taxes on it, Ghana's own is largely expensive. Yeah. And Ghana currently will hold an enviable position of hosting the first ever free trade agreement, the Intercontinental Free Trade Agreement. And the intention of it is that we must be able to create a platform to leverage on our trade intensity among ourselves so that we do less dependence on foreign currencies. The only way we can do that is bold and radical leadership. And I'm saying, after itself at the launch in 2019, projected that by 2026, they were supposed to achieve 50% of the total trade volume between Africa and the rest of the world among African countries. Currently, we are doing 17. What is the problem? One is because of weak macroeconomic fundamentals of countries. Two is we don't have a fair or steep financial market that grants loans to people. 3 is also political instability. 4 is also the difficulty in even agreeing a common currency. Yeah. These are basic issues that Ghana is trying to lead by example. And we cannot keep doing something and expect different results. If we don't change this economic metric, we will always come back to the same point. Why do we vote government? And you'll be tired.
People are worried about the sustainability of this 24-hour authority or secretariat.
Good. So unless a government in future will come and tell us that he is not interested in creating value addition, unless a government will come in future and tell us that he wants money in his pocket, he doesn't want the private sector to drive growth, look at the income inequality in Ghana. We have created a state-like country such that when you even give job to somebody, the person prefers to work in a government institution than a private sector, which is a reverse in other countries. Recently, Donald Trump said he has brought in 18 trillion FDI into America through the private sector. The private sector is the engine of growth. What government does normally is that how do we make sure that agriculture, which is the backbone of our economy, is able to feed the industry? Under President Nkrumah, and let me say this, Kwame Nkrumah was the only president, or his regime was the only regime where agriculture was leading Ghana. Because agriculture, which is the backbone, it contributes almost 63% of our total workforce, and it ensures food security. Yet in Ghana now, the drivers of the growth is service sector and even mining and quarry. The one that ensures food yesterday you saw the food insecurity issue. It's because we pay little attention to agriculture, which is the backbone. And that is why Nkrumah developed many...
Is it because agriculture is not attractive anymore?
It is.
Or it's never been attractive?
It has been attractive since. But we don't understand a value chain economy. You must know that one leads to the other. Develop your agriculture base, which is the foundation. Industries will feed on it. And once industry feeds, services will now be developed to support the industry. That is how every economy has developed over time.
But how do you convince the citizenry to go into agric?
No, there is a motivation.
That has always been the problem. So, it's always been a challenge.
And let me tell you something. These days, there is no single politician who is not a farmer. There is no single, even one. Including the female politician, you know. Ask them. Either they are doing cocoa, they are doing rice, or...
Because the politicians get the farm input easily by virtue of their position. The ordinary farmer will not have access to tractor. The politician can have it easily.
So that is why the argument should now be, how do we make sure that the input cost of farming is reduced? In other jurisdictions, they have this concept where they know cost of input per bag of maize. So if to get 1 bag of maize, I need 100 Ghana cedis. So that if I sell it at 300, I know I've made 200% profit. In Ghana, we still don't have that data. And I think Minister of Agric is developing that. In fact, we are coming to even establish the first ever fertilizer processing plant in Ghana. It is never done anywhere in the history of this country, a fertilizer plant. Yet, we spend millions of dollars importing fertilizer. That drives up the cost of production for agric farmers. And that is why they say food glut. Because if you look at the amount of money you use in farming, as against how much they want to buy in the market, you realize that you'll be making a loss. So we must do everything possible to address that bottleneck by reducing import costs. Now, sustainability. As we speak, since we spoke about this 24-hour framework, 412 enterprises have been engaged. 412 have been engaged to move into the shift system. And they will ask us, where is the 3-3 job? Once the demand is created and companies are willing to accept it, and the offer we are giving them is this: they must be ready for the shift economy. The traditional 8-hour system is not able to address our issues of unemployment, low capital capacity, and then promoting trade competitiveness. To address that, we believe that the traditional 8-hour will not do, include shift system. So if you are coming for the enabling environment government is providing, you must be able to implement the shift system. So very soon this year, you begin to see shift system actually happening. Now, out of the 412 companies that we have spoken with, 80% of them want to adopt the shift system, which indicates that 4 out of every 5 companies Ghana has approached has agreed to adopt the shift system. 68% of the companies demand tax rebates, which is also a phenomenon in our 24-hour manual. that government is prepared to give tax concessions and rebates for people to come and do business. So 68% of them demand tax rebates as their top priority. So it means that if the government is able to give them tax rebates, not even tax exemptions, rebate simply means bringing the tax levels downwards. And in Ghana, we've already have it in our tax laws. If you are doing business in Tamale, you pay lower taxes than somebody doing in Accra and or Tema. We already have the tax rebate system. So they are demanding that we must institute a tax rebate system for those areas that we want them to go. 49% also cite access to incentive as a critical support. Apart from the tax incentive, what other incentive do we have for them? Government is proposing the smart metering program on a green energy concept. We're also providing enabling security, because at the end of the day, when night life starts, there will be security concerns. Government is also ready to do that. So 412 enterprises representing, if we're able to mop these people up, it will create an additional job of 33,725 jobs. These are life-changing moments. Not only the jobs, our issue is capacity. Our issue is to serve the international market. The Trade Committee met the European Union. Currently, we import close to 13.1% from the European market. Yet we export only, in Africa, we export only 4.6% to the European market. Yet, whatever, Europe, if you go to Europe, they don't have much oil, they don't have cocoa, they don't have anything. How do they give us importation? It simply means that the raw materials that we give to them, they refine and bring
add value to it.
So we told them that, one, you must see us as partners and not slaves. Any refinery that you want to do to our products, set up the processing plants in our countries so that we delink the pressure on our currencies. Or we have a program like this, come and buy in. If Ghanaians give us the mandate for this to succeed, I can tell you that other African countries will do that. Nkrumah had similar idea, the African Economic Zone project. The idea one was to militarize at one country, give economic power, sovereignty to ourselves by creating a currency. Do you know, if Nkrumah had gotten the opportunity to implement the African Economic Zone, where Africa would have been at this stage? That is also another issue. And then, now, Sammy, last one. Somebody will ask that, in fact, I heard the MPP make that argument, that they also had 1D, 1F, and then planting for food and job and others. But this is significantly different. First, you talk about the secretariat, which I said that it has no legal backing. This is an economic transformation. Planting for food and job, you and I know it was reduced for party people. Frankly speaking, they've been talking about it before the election. You saw some constituency people said they brought them rice to share. That is not the intention of the planting for food and job. This was meant to subsidize cost of input for people to turn out more output. So I would say that 1D, 1F, the idea was to build factories in every district. Is that not the point? But you and I know these factories were built in isolation without any consolidated value chain. Why? Because a lot of those factories were already in existence. So what government did was that, one, some were given technical support, some were given financial support. Is that not it? What was the connection? So if you look at the difference, you know that now inputs were also distributed, like I said, to party people, which was not the And then the third one, the idea of those planting for food and 1D, 1F was to ensure that Ghana goes beyond it. Is that not it? Yeah. As we speak, they left us with a total debt of 726 billion Ghana cedis. Is that Ghana beyond it? So what we are trying to do with this thing is that we must reduce less dependence on foreign aid. IMF 17th time, this should be the last. And if you, these are the projects. I want every region. Sammy, even if you don't give me the chance.
We are running out of time, but then my final question. Why have you delayed all this while and you are now rolling out this program? You've already been in office for like a year.
Yes.
Why all the delay? Answer for me in 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Because we don't want the over-politicization of economic policies, we needed to do a lot of consultations, and the Secretariat did a good job. They consulted everybody that is needed to consult. If you go to 24-hour projects by regions, I'll do it in 10 seconds. Upper West, they will be getting the groundnut processing, that's the millet corridor. Upper East, they will be getting the tonal rice irrigation, the Kwalugu Agro-Ecological Park, Northeast, they will be getting the integrated rice corridor in Wungu, part of the grain and the oil seed corridor. Northern region will get the North Shore Light Industrial Park, the Tamale Air Cargo Hub, and the Singer Integrated Agroecological Park. If you go to Savannah, Cassava Hub, the Buipe Inland Port, the Buipe Solar Park, Yapi Port, Volta Lake,
and more.
So 24-hour has come to stay. It is going to transform the economic framework of this country, and I can bet you people will smile by the end of 2026.
Thank you very much for your time. Ataisa is the Member of Parliament for the Sarunu constituency in the Northern region, a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, and a member of the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament as well. My guest tonight on Point Blank. And that's how we end today's edition of Eyewitness News. That came to you live from our studio here in Accra. My name is Sami Wiafisho, produced by Kwabena Wilson, Beverly London, and Juliana Odami. Technical assistant Desmond Nyakon. So we'll come your way again tomorrow.